One of the many ways leaders and public officials can ensure good governance is by keeping their financial and wealth details transparent. However, in case of Nepal, many high-ranking officials and politicians have been reluctant in disclosing their information and have taken the requirement as a mere formality. Corruption watchdog CIAA has suggested rampant corruption, especially at the local levels, calling on all public representatives and office bearers to exhibit transparency. Good morning, I am Bipashna Tamang and these are the headlines of the hour. Prime Minister, ministers, public officials and local representatives reluctant in sharing the financial information. Good governance and elimination of corruption limited to slogans. The Narangad-Mughlin Road section piled by hundreds of vehicles each day at a high risk of landslide, especially as monsoon kicks in. Ukraine's governor of Luhansk, Serhiy Haidai, says all bridges to the embattled city of Severodonetsk have been destroyed by Russian forces, says delivering supplies and evacuating civilians impossible. And Australia qualifying for the FIFA World Cup for the fifth consecutive time. Edge past Peru 5-4 in a penalty shootout in the Intercontinental Playoff in Qatar. The lifestyle of high-ranking government officials and policymakers and their wealth have continued to hint at rising corruption in the country. Majority of the people's representatives, office bearers, ministers, politicians and even the Prime Minister have failed to maintain good governance and financial transparency despite growing call on publishing their financial details. More in this report.
The state laws require public representatives to publish their financial and wealth details within 60 days of assuming their offices and conduct a review each year. However, majority of the people's representatives, office bearers, and politicians have failed to abide by the rule. The lack of transparency by these officials indicate of rising corruption and lack of good governance. According to Transparency International, Nepal is one among the nations that has the highest corruption levels. Corruption has marred the political sphere, administration, security institution, and even the judiciary. Corruption Watchdog, Commission for the Investigation of Abuse of Authority, has stated the highest level of corruption in the country takes place at the local levels. This calls for local representatives, in addition to leaders, ministers, and high-ranking officials, to publish their financial details.
In our Public Voice segment, we had asked in several provinces why have public officials been reluctant in sharing details of their wealth. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
Public Voice.
The meeting of the House of Representatives has directed the government to provide chemical fertilizers to farmers at the earliest. Yesterday's House meeting had endorsed the proposal unanimously to discuss on fertilizers floated by the main opposition CPN-UML, citing it as the issue of the public. At yesterday's meeting, 15 lawmakers, including CPN-UML Chief Whip Bishal Bhattrai, had floated the proposal to hold discussions on fertilizers and postpone other issues. Lawmakers of both the ruling and main opposition parties exchanged verbal volleys at each other regarding the issue of fertilizers. However, both the sides agreed on the proposal tabled by the main opposition. Bhattrai had said that farmers have been deprived of fertilizers and highlighted the need for storage facilities. Speaker Agni Sapkota had set aside 2 hours to discuss on the proposal. Lawmakers of the ruling and opposition parties have said that the government and the opposition are both responsible for not bringing fertilizers on time for the farmers. Minister for Land Management, Cooperatives and Poverty Alleviation, Shashi Shrestha, has stated that the ministry is doing homework on announcing Nepal's official area. Furnishing answers yesterday on the questions raised at the second meeting of the House of Representatives, Minister Shrestha said that the official area of Nepal will be announced after completing necessary procedures. The Nepal government had published the revised political map of Nepal on 28th of May 2020. Thousands of people travel through the Narangad-Muglin road section and roads in Palpa and Tanahu on a daily basis. However, with the onset of monsoon season, these roads are prone to rain-induced landslides, increasing the chances of accidents. It may be recalled that a section in Muglin-Pokhara road under the Prithvi highway had caved in only last Friday. 2 people travelling in a car and a motorbike had died in the incident. Local authorities have facilitated the resumption of the road by clearing debris. However, the risk of another accident persists. The scenario is no different for Chitwan's Narangad-Muglin road section and Siddhartha highway, among others. Despite the increasing number of road accidents, especially during monsoon season, the government and local authorities are yet to stay prepared ahead. 33 spots along the Narangad-Muglin road section have been declared as high-risk zones in order to minimize the risk of landslides and roads caving in. By engineering, rock netting and rock bolting works have been carried out in the spots. However, that has yet to reduce the number of landslides. Based on the data by traffic police, 81 accidents have been reported in the Narangad-Muglin road section so far in the ongoing fiscal year, with 18 deaths, 200 injured. Likewise, 39 individuals have lost their lives in 64 accidents that took place in Muglin-Pokhara road section in the ongoing year. The Road Division Office allocates over 100 million rupees each year for repair and maintenance of these roads. However, that has yet to produce any significant result. There is a call on the government to raise its sensitivity towards road repair and maintenance and stay prepared, especially for monsoon seasons. And it's time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
Here's the question: what should be done to ease road travel during the rainy season? Your options are: option A, improve road conditions; option B, manage traffic information system; and option C, passengers and drivers be alert. The voting is on. Type any WS. Select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. Based on Nepal Rashtra Bank's directive, banks and financial institutions should maintain a credit-to-deposit ratio of lower than 90%. However, out of 27 commercial banks in the country, 15 banks have a CD ratio of more than 90%. This has added pressure on the banks to increase their deposits and reduce loans. As a result, service seekers have been deprived of loan facilities. More in this report.
Based on the rules of the central bank, banks and financial institutions are only allowed to use 90% of the deposit by its customers to invest as loans. However, majority of the financial institutions have failed to implement the said CD ratio. As BFIs are required to maintain a 90 to 10% CD ratio by the end of a fiscal year, banks have begun collecting their loans since 3 months, however, have failed to collect required deposit amounts. Century Bank, Prime, Kumari, Bank of Kathmandu and Nepal Bangladesh Bank have a CD ratio of around 95%. These banks are under pressure to reduce their loans and increase deposits. Many banks have also taken loans of around 231 billion rupees, which is still inadequate to fulfill the market's loan demands. The inability to fulfill loan demands, economists say, is an indicator of a sluggish economy and have suggested concerned authorities to expedite foreign investments and foreign loans to keep the economy up, as government expenditure and remittances alone are not adequate to attain the 8% economic growth that the government has envisioned.
That's all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.